Hi friends, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to discuss a slightly taboo topic of doing two timing and its repercussions on your life. So let's begin. Uh, Traditionally, two timing is associated with someone involved in a romantic relationship with more than one person at the same time, and typically it is linked with boys or men in general. However, it is way too common and true for the other gender as well. And two timing becomes all the more serious and problematic when someone is already in a married or a committed relationship and still gets involved in a new or a second relationship that is seeking romance or love outside their marriage. Um, so, this creates the famous Pati Patni and Wo scenario. And it is no surprise that when it is found, a lot of dirt, mudslinging comes out of it and it spoils a family. However, the message of my today's video is not about humans' interpersonal relationship, but it is more about your relationship with your own self and how a two-timing behavior is slowly destroying your happiness. I'm talking about um, doing something which is prohibited for you either by your own self or someone else like your coach, your doctor, or even your trainer. I'm talking about the feeling of guilt and that too in bold letters. So, if you check Google, it will tell you about that guilt is classified as a moral or self conscious emotion. It is an unconscious psychological and physiological response that occurs when you realize or believe that you have violated your personal standards, caused harm to someone, or failed to live up to your values. This triggers physiological reactions like changes in heart rate, respiration, and the autonomic nervous system. So, with that definition in mind, let's take a deep dive into it. Imagine that you have recently signed up for an exercise or a diet program, and barely a week into it, you have the strong urge to have an ice cream or a high calorie sugary food. This is despite knowing fully well that how detrimental this can be for you. But not only you let the urge win, but soon after you develop a strong sense of guilt. Or let's take another scenario that you promised yourself that you would study well for your upcoming exams or prepare well for your upcoming interview, but you end up putting the book aside and started watching your favorite series on Netflix. The worst part is that this is not the first time you have done so, and there can be innumerable examples, but I guess you got the message. Now, I want to draw your attention towards a similarity between the, the two situations. That is, whether you did a two timing as someone despite being in a committed relationship with your partner, or you did it by giving into your temptations to have an ice cream or watching Netflix. The underlying reason or reasons are pretty much the same. That is, you have experienced a serious lack when growing up, or you have been deprived of something which should have been easily available to you. And the funny thing is that this temperament was always present within you, and it was just waiting for a perfect scenario to be triggered. And the more you do it, the more deeper emotional bond you develop with this habit of two timing, and the more stronger sense of guilt feeling you get after each event. Having said that, all is not doom and gloom. Let's talk about the bright side. That is how to actually put your foot down and detach yourself from this heavy feeling of guilt. So for that, I strongly urge you to view the other romantic partner, the ice cream, or the Netflix series in their true context. That is, as an emotional crutch. And what does a crutch do? It provides you the temporary support when you have injured yourself. So remind yourself that the only reason you formed a strong relationship with them was due to a sheer lack or due to poor emotional regulation, um, especially after an unpleasant event in your life at some point. And because you viewed them as so comforting that despite knowing fully well that it is not appropriate for you, you still give into your temptation. And at the same time, the more you introspect alone without any distractions, the more clear view becomes of your false attachment to these things. This is the only way you can gather the courage to come out of this problem and lead a much happier life in general. And in the end, I want to give a movie recommendation for people who like to watch Bollywood movies. This is one of my favorite Farhan Akhtar's movie named Luck by Chance. So, if you have watched this movie, you would know what happens in the end when he realizes his mistake and develops a deep sense of guilt after being dumped by his second girlfriend, and then tries to fall back to her original love in the movie, played by Konkana Sen Sharma, and how she had moved on by then, and she makes him realize what he's doing. So, a finishing message to you all that stop before it is too late for you. Thanks for watching this video. Take care and see you soon.